Hello, hey guys. Welcome to another episode of Inglês no Rádio. My name is Foster. I'm here with
Alexia Souza.
Hey Alexia, how you doing?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm doing great. We've recorded a lot of podcasts today.
Yes. So let's get done with this one already.
We're just starting and we're trying to get done. Okay, so if you guys have not listened to the last few episodes, we are talking about a series called The Rules of Language Learning from Olly Richards, who runs the website iwillteachyoualanguage.com.
Yes.
And today,
the
rule of language learning.
Of language learning.
Of what?
Of language learning.
Is, Alexia, can I get a drum roll, please?
No.
Alexia. The rule of the language thingy learning today is don't move abroad to learn a new language. So first, Alexia, don't move abroad. For people that do not know this expression, to move abroad means to study, work, live in a different country.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of our students say, I'm going to another country, I'm visiting another country to study. That's totally correct, but it's probably more common to say I'm studying abroad or I'm moving abroad.
But when people say like, I'm going abroad,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to travel, right, to another country. It's only this. You don't have to specify.
Yeah, moving abroad or going abroad, studying abroad. Abroad just means internationally in this case.
Okay.
Yeah, so what do you think, Alexia? What are your first opinions? This seems quite counterintuitive. Most people think you have to study abroad. Olly is saying you should not study abroad.
Okay, so as always, I have two opinions about it. And my first opinion and my first thought about it, yeah, you shouldn't if you are starting from scratch. Because, first of all, if you're going abroad, for example, in the United States, you are starting to learn English and you want to have this experience, go to, I don't know, California, New York, Miami, whatever. And you're going to get there. And you won't be able to communicate to anyone.
Communicate with anyone.
With anyone. Because you're just starting it. So all the money that you're going to pay for that, all the money that is going to be invested on that, In that. We invest in things, we communicate with people. Yes. And all the emotional situation as well that is involved is going to be not worth it at all because you won't be able to communicate. But my second opinion about it is if you already have a little bit of knowledge and know how to communicate but want to get better and etc., you should go abroad. You already know that. When I was 16 years old, I went abroad, spent a month in the United Kingdom, in England, and it was the best thing for my English.
Okay.
Best thing ever.
Okay, so Alexia, you are always very diplomatic, which is appreciated. So if I understand correctly, your opinion here is, yes, studying abroad is a very good thing, but if you're just starting out, it's probably not the best idea. It's not necessarily worth it.
Yeah, I'm not diplomatic. Do you think I'm diplomatic?
Yeah, on the podcast, sometimes. So in the video, Olly talks about his experience in Japan, that he spent a few years in Japan and essentially did not learn any Japanese. And I can speak from experience because I spent a long time in Spain, and it really took me a few years to start speaking. So that was a lot of time and money and experience wasted. But there is kind of a catch-22 here, Alexia. Do you know what a catch-22 is?
Mm-mm.
You've never heard that phrase?
No.
Because we've talked about it on the podcast.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we have.
Okay, you're going to prove it to me, and then I'm going to say, yeah, you're right, so go ahead.
Thank you. I'm right. A catch-22 is just a situation that is contradictory or it's impossible because of the circumstances of the situation.
Okay.
It's famous from a book by Joseph Conrad called Catch-22. But here, the Catch-22, as Olly explains, is if you move to a foreign country, you really want to talk to other people. That's the reason why you move there, right? But you can't talk to people yet because your level is not good enough. You can't have conversations.
My first point.
Exactly. And also, you can't get to the level that you're good enough to talk to people without talking to people.
Also my point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what would you suggest is the solution to this problem?
Study at home as much as you can. Go to intermediate level. And then you can go and have an experience abroad because you already know how to communicate. And you're going to grow up a lot and understand better and like adapt your communication and moldar sua comunicação.
Yeah. Yeah. So I completely agree with that. I really think that spending time abroad can be a very, very beneficial situation when you already have the capacity to speak to people. You could potentially make friends in that language.
For me, the most important part is if you are dealing with an emergency, if it's yours emergency or someone else's emergency.
If it's your emergency?
Yeah. For example, I need to go to the hospital. Do I know how to deal with this situation in English? Do I know how to have a conversation about it and ask for help, understand the doctors and knowing what's going on around me? Like, even if it's a normal situation or a very, very bad situation, do you know how to get along with that? This is my first thought. I couldn't go to France, even though I know French, because I couldn't know how to ask for help.
Yeah.
So if I don't know how to ask for help, I wouldn't go to France, right now, to study abroad or to travel or to work abroad. Of course, to travel is one thing, but yeah. So my personal point is that.
I think that's a valid point. So two very, very common mistakes that I see a lot with our students. Number one, people go abroad and they only spend time with Brazilians.
Yes.
And the reason they do that is because they're not comfortable enough to speak with native speakers. So normally you have one person in the group that is comfortable enough to speak with native speakers, and that person's kind of the leader of the group and no one else learns. I don't see that situation happen too much with people that are really advanced. They are confident enough to just go and travel by themselves and make friends. The second thing that I see a lot of our students doing is saying they wait to really start studying when they go abroad. Like people come to us and they say, hey, I'm getting a new job or I'm traveling to the U.S. next month, so I really need to start preparing for my trip. And I want to say, like, we should have talked like a year ago, So those are the two most common examples of people really not taking advantage of this opportunity that I see.
Yeah. Of course, there are situations and situations. Maybe it's the job of your life and you need to go and you're going to do everything in your power to speak English before you go there. And there are different situations, but in a good world, in the better world, in the perfect world, I would say wait for it. Go when you are comfortable with your communication and when you know how to ask for help. That's my point.
Yeah, Olly even mentions this in the video that if your reason for moving abroad has nothing to do with language, then that's totally fine, right? If you're going for a job, you probably already speak the language somewhat, or you're going to have a lot of exposure very quickly. But if you're going for a family member or something like that, that's a different thing. But if you're going to improve your language skills, then you probably will have much better results if you do as much work beforehand. Because if you think about it, if you can't really speak, let's say I'm traveling to Brazil and I don't know any Portuguese, do I just arrive there and try to speak with people on the streets And most people are just going to want to try to speak English with me because I can't speak Portuguese. So it's a lot easier for me just to go on the internet and find a tutor or a language partner, someone like Alexia. Alexia's pointing at herself. And just practicing that beforehand. And then when I get there, I can actually have those conversations that I already practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Okay.
So you agree? Don't move abroad to learn a new language?
Yes, of course, with those situations, yes.
Yeah, I think there are many reasons why you should move abroad: to improve a new language, to perfect a new language, to have new cultural experiences, to learn more about the world. But if you're only moving to learn and you haven't started doing anything beforehand, maybe think twice about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. So we will talk to you guys tomorrow with one more rule of language learning.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.